Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. My name's Ash, and here is today's comic. Blood Realm, number one. $1.50, Alterna Comics. This is my first Alterna Comics review. Got this from those... Sorry, excuse my sniffling, I'm a little sick. Got my first issue from my comic book store, who doesn't normally carry these, but now they're ordering them for me. Really like this cover. Really like the idea. I did not collect any Alterna Comics before because I am very particular in my comics. I'm very much a superhero junkie. I want big mainstream universe and, you know, a shared universe. Indies don't really give that to me. Valiant is doing the closest, and I'm actually looking into maybe getting into Valiant because some of the stuff I've been reading is amazing. But Alterna came onto the scene, and if you've been following me, you should know. If you've been following anything about comics, you should just know why I'm following Alterna. What's been happening with industry pros trying to just blacklist and destroy this company is unconscionable. It is intolerable. It is just completely wrong. And it made me say, you know what? I want to support these guys, even though before when I looked at them and I didn't know anything about them, I was like, oh, it was a comic, whatever. Now I know something about them. Now I watch Peter Simeti talk online, got to know the guy a little better, seen what an awesome individual and human being the guy is, how hard he's trying to just make good comics for everybody. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this another chance, try to find something I like. It was a little bit tough. I don't even know if I like this, but getting back to my ideas, I like shared universe superheroes. Alterna doesn't have that. I like sci-fi. Alterna does have that. And I'm okay. I like fantasy. I love dark fantasy. Never really seen it done well in comics, however. So I don't ever go for it in comics. But, oh man, like novels. Yeah. So, here we go. Blood Realm, $1.50, Dark Covenant. I will say caveat right away. This book is not indicative of normal alternative comics. Alterna. Okay? So, unlike a lot of other companies, like, well, some of the bigger ones like Marvel, DC, also Valiant, which try to have a similar feel across their line, where you can like pick up a couple books and go, oh hey, if you like Green Lantern, you're probably gonna like Superman and Batman and or if you like Spider-Man, you're probably gonna like the Hulk and the Avengers, and like there's a certain feel that the companies try to strive for. Alterna's not like that. It's all across the board. Apples, oranges, chopped liver. Nothing is the same. This book in particular is way different than a lot of their stuff. So understand that. If you see this book and you go, holy crap, that's amazing, then you're kind of not in a lot of luck because this is the only one like it. If you look at this book and go, that looks terrible, don't judge the rest of our line, okay? This is the only one like this. So, The Blood Realm. Here we go. Newsprint. Okay? If you haven't seen newsprint in a while, man, it takes me back to the good old days of the 90s, 80s. Man, I got a copy of, it's a second printing, but I still like original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 2. I could never find a number 1, but I got a number 2, and it's a big magazine size newsprint. Man, this just takes me back to those days. So here we have this opening shot, and it says, 3 supernatural beings embark on a treacherous quest to stop a bloodthirsty general from obtaining a sacred relic powerful enough to obliterate the last kingdom of men. Alterna Comics presents Blood Realm. Now, this whole comic is like this. It's sort of a monologue. I felt it inside me, gnawing like a voracious parasite. Time ceased to exist. Only this torment and the swelling fear that there would be nothing left of me. Let me see this little guy walking. I tried to fight, but my body rejected me. It writhed, thrashing. I have seen the dark. And then it goes to this. After the Age of Beasts and the rise of the Iron Wolves, there was a kingdom called Vorgoth, the last standing empire of mankind. And the whole book goes this way. So I'm not going to spoil it because, number one, it's worth reading on your own. But I want to give you a taste where this narration boxes are just telling you the history of this kingdom and the beginning of this, essentially a fairy tale. And the different monsters and what came to be. And it's very unusual and interestingly well done. If you like dark art like this, if you like dark fantasy and mythos and world building, you're going to like this. This is a very kind of Tolkien-esque fantasy setting, but obviously not just ripping off Lord of the Rings. It's doing its own thing. But in that similar vein, it's got its own races of people. Now, the art is, well, you can see for yourself. This isn't professional Marvel, DC art, right? I shouldn't even say Marvel anymore. I'm so used to saying Marvel because, like, they've been the top of the game for so long. And, like, I have another Alterna comic I'm going to be reviewing here. Just as Exilium. That's the other one I have. Exilium has better art than many Marvel books. It shocks me. I'm just like, what? This is $1.50. This obviously is very amateur styling, right? But when I was reading it, I was like, you know what? I don't mind. Just like back in the late 80s when I picked up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the first time, the old black and whites. That was crazy amateur art, but I didn't care. There was something cool about it. There was a passion to the story and what they were trying to do that caught me. And this is the same way. There's something I really got into this is a backstory, what we're getting here. But it's a story nonetheless. And this whole mythos and this fairy tale that sets up what's to be. And even though the art isn't something, if this isn't like pinup art, you're going to be like, oh, I'm so amazed. If you spent $1.50 on it, you're getting entertained, and that's what should matter. And I was entertained. Let me just tell you something. More happens in this book than all 3 Superman issues thus far by Brian Michael Bendis. Now, this is an Ivan Rice art. Okay? But more happens. I was more entertained. I was more interested in this whole world and who these characters are and this evil queen, and we got this black wizard and his heart and the knights that had to come kill him and take his heart, and his heart's become this powerful artifact and all the it's neat. And I liked this imagery. I was having fun just kind of reading along and taking in the pages and let my imagination open up to this world. And normally I don't like fantasy comics because they're not done like this. They're done like a typical comic, and it looks too clean and crisp. And what I like about dark fantasy is world building, and I like the lore, and I like the I'm at a loss for words on that, so I'm not going to sit here and go and try to think about it. Anyways, you can kind of see, you have a very good taste of what the book's about. At the end, we meet the protagonist, essentially, who I believe is going to be the protagonist, who gets saved, this little character. My name is Meek. He's the guy we saw in the very beginning. And we get a map of the world. And we get some character bios, which are cool. And different factions of the world. And that's it. Which doesn't seem like much on paper. But it's a really good setup for a first issue, a first story. And it left me going, oh, okay, cool. That's the premise. This is the whole build-up. Tell me what happens now. What's going on? I wanted to know more. And I am more than happy to pay $1.50 every. I don't know if this is, most alternative books are bi-monthly. Just because Peter Samedi, Alternative Comics, is a very small press, so it's hard for them to do this month. There's a small shop, so churning it out is more difficult. I'm okay. I am so okay with that. Every 2 months, I spend my $1.50. I get this book. It's fun. It's entertaining. I support a great comic publisher, and I feel good about myself, and I feel entertained from the book. I don't want to say I couldn't be happier with this book, but it met all my expectations. Like, I wasn't sure when I kind of got it. I was like, this could be just terrible. Because I got to see the first couple of pages online, and I was like, oh, really? Like, that doesn't, okay. I do really love this cover. It looks better in person. It's like Ferrari red, super bright. Love the contrast. I really do love the imagery on this cover. So I'm very happy with this. I'm going to give this, I would say this is like a 3. I almost want to say 4 stars. No, I can't. I'm going to say 3 because it is still just kind of a backstory. It's on the cusp, though. And again, considering the price. 3 to 4 stars, I'm thinking, because of bug. If it were $3.99, I'd be like, this is 2 stars. Right? But even then, you're still entertained. Like, no, anyways, recommend 3 stars. If this is your bag, add a star, because that's just the way comics work. If this is like, I hate this sort of crap, I want cutesy fairies, I want My Little Pony or whatever, maybe you'll hate this. I thought this was very fun. $1.50, Blood Realm. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for making great comic. Thank you, Robert Geronimo, who is the writer and the artist, for putting in this book and entertaining me. We'll look you up on Twitter. And I hope this is more. I hope you have more ideas in this 3-issue limited series. I feel like you're not going to be able to tell much of a story. So, yeah, awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. Check out Alternative Comics. I'm going to review some more coming up. And that's it. Bye.